Hello everybody. Today we have a really fascinating old airgun to take a look at. This is the Diana Model 26 Underlever, which was made from 1933 until 1940. Diana also produced an earlier model that they called the Model 26 through 1932. That was a quarter stock break barrel gun, and it was a smaller version of the Milita style Model 27. The Model 26 Underlever has been described as the most over-engineered youth airgun, and it's that design that makes it so special. The Model 26 was based off of the Model 25 break barrel, and in the early 30s, while the Model 25 sold for 22.5 marks and the larger Model 27 sold for 30.5 marks, the Model 26 cost 32 marks. That's a substantial difference in price, and that's due to everything that's in front of the compression chamber as compared to the Model 25. The back half of the gun is essentially identical to the first version of the Model 25 break barrel. It uses pretty much the same walnut stock, and it has an identical trigger setup. The big difference in price is everything forward of the compression tube. The total length is 39.5 inches, and the barrel is 16 inches long. The length of pull is 13 7/8 inches, so even though it was marketed more as a youth airgun, it still feels like a full-size airgun. And the weight is 5 pounds 12 ounces, or 5 3/4 pounds. To begin with, we have this beautifully shaped loading tap. Many shooters in this time period did not think that a break barrel airgun could be accurate. After all, how could an airgun be accurate with that big floppy hinge in the middle? To get a proper sealing with this tap required hand lapping. There was a lot of manual labor that was involved in getting a good airtight seal. And in fact, this gun, even though it was made in 1934 and is over 80 years old, is still perfectly sealed. Also, I don't think it'll show up on a camera, but the compression tube, the tap, and the barrel are 3 separate pieces. You can barely see the joining line between the two here, but you cannot feel it with your finger. And it's a little bit hard to see on the camera, but the barrel has this continuous taper from 19 millimeters at the breech end down to 14 millimeters at the muzzle. That requires a lot more machine work than a simple straight barrel. And the cocking arm is also made from a solid piece of steel. You have the release button here, and it latches on a lug attached to the bottom side of the barrel. The rear sight is a very fine V-notch. It is adjustable for elevation with this tiny screw right here. For windage, you would have to drift the sight in its dovetail. The front sight is a beaded post. Together, the sights do allow for some pretty accurate shooting, but it requires good vision and good light. The trigger is a traditional 2-stage direct sear design. It is not adjustable. First stage takes about 1.5 pounds. Second stage breaks at about 4 pounds. It's a pretty typical trigger for airguns of this era. It's the identical trigger that the pre-World War II Model Diana 25 used. The stock on the Model 26, like the original Model 25, is made out of walnut and has no butt plate. To cock the Model 26, you release the underlever and pull it down until the sear catches. That takes about 20 pounds of effort. It takes a little bit more effort than the Model 25 that this is based off of, but that's simply because the cocking arm is shorter than the barrel of the Model 25. Like a lot of other guns of the 1930s, this airgun has no safety, but if you firmly grasp the cocking arm and pull the trigger, you can decock the gun. And even though there is no safety, if you flip the loading tap up, there's no physical way for the pellet to leave the barrel, and that renders the gun pretty much completely safe. As far as performance goes, even though the power plant on this Model 26 is the same as the Model 25, for some reason this gun shoots a little bit slower than the Model 25s I have from the same era. Lighter JSB 7.33 grain pellets give about 480 to 490 feet per second. The heavier 8.4 grain exacts gave around 440 to 450. Next, I'll put up a graphic with the performance of several pellets in the Model 26, and then I'll show a couple groups. To get the Model 26 ready for shooting, you first release the cocking arm. You open the tap. Drop your pellet in, nose first. Close the tap, and you're ready to shoot. Thank you for taking your time to watch this video of the Model 26. It's not a powerhouse by any means, but it is a very fun gun to shoot, and it's something you don't see every day. Until next time, take care.